part about it. I couldn't even get that appropriate. Like, yeah, unreal.
That's tough. My goodness. But talking about this map, hey, I mean, the desk did a really good job of setting up things to look for. I'm really pumped about the fact that Ender brought up that wall that EG liked to throw. But the curiosity here, Dust, is the changes off the Jet for EG and now on to the Raze for FaZe Clan. What are your initial thoughts, kind of piggybacking off the desk thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, both teams breaking away from their norm, which is, you know, something we only could really speculate about because these teams haven't played in like a month, right? They've been sitting back waiting for this moment, so they've both decided to tweak their compositions. Like they said, no stage now available for FaZe. Now they have a true duelist on Baby Bay, and we see Jawjamo going away from the Jet and over to an Initiator, you know, to get that double Initiator comp rolling. So this could be interesting to see how it plays out, as FaZe are going to be the attack first. And, well, the big thing that's going to be up against them is the fact that EG is the best pistol round team in North America throughout the entirety of Stage 2. Not only were they the best, they were clearing FaZe by 30%.
Yeah, bro. That was such a huge statistic when FaZe was walking into the playoffs, was that they were just atrocious in the pistols. Now, granted, they did kind of get a little boosted up after the playoff run that they put together, but yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a major difference between both of these two teams on these opening rounds of the halves. Also important to note here that this kind of show of force from FaZe early has kind of drained Reformed out of a lot of the utility. Only one slow orb remaining, and this cut of noise is going to put maybe a bit of curiosity into when this hit's going to come in. Well, here it is.
I like this from EG, already having Boostio so deep up middle, and the flanks already coming as well from APOP through B side. So they're going to have basically FaZe pigeonholed inside this site.
Opening trades thus far. Recon bolt will come through, a little bit of extra reveal onto this FaZe attack, but actually it's really well done because the retake is just right behind it just as soon as FaZe kind of turned tail to run. Last one left would be Superman, who does well to get some damage, but difficult 1v3, and it's EG, who, as you had mentioned, still look good on the pistol.
Indeed they do, but I will give FaZe a little bit of credit to come into this. They do have the best eco win rate out of anyone in North America. So they are a little bit more dangerous in some of these low buy situations than many of their teams have been. It's just due to how flashy some of their players can be on some of these pistols and lower economic weapons. So they are one of those teams that, you know, often when you look at a round 2 situation like this, you kind of think it's just a foregone conclusion. We're going to go that normal 2-0 pattern. But FaZe at times has often been able to kind of just use their aggression to kind of catch people off guard and still make things happen.
A lot of that does come off of a successful plant with kills on the offensive side for FaZe. Expect them to possibly buy up, but not having the plant this time. It'll just be pistols. Very standard. Different wall this time out of FaZe. Yeah, very call.
And that's really like one of the biggest reasons I think FaZe were successful in their ecos is how good Dicey can just be with, you know, a headhunter. You know, we know how powerful that weapon can be. We know how meta Chamber is, but Dicey in particular, you know, as that's kind of alluded to, probably the best Chamber in this tournament, and overall probably one of the best players in this LCQ.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if the desk was going to take it the extra step further to see if they could put a claim to say possibly one of the best players in the tournament, but I'm glad that you had. Superman dealt with on the opening attack phase. Still 3-man hit over onto the right side, prospectively for their attack. And it works out nicely for a couple of opening trades. Long-range shots from Cobb will get the job done, turn this to a 3v2 defensively. But FaZe with the plant has an opportunity to kind of split this post-plant defense up. Baby Bay up high will reveal himself. Eventually drops back down. Poise trying to self-flash himself in, but Reformed will punish. And it's just down Baby Bay with the classic. Not much he could do there. And it's EG up 2-0 early.
And almost kind of played out the way that we thought. FaZe being dangerous on ecos and Dicey being dangerous with the headhunter in his hands. It got a couple of entries and got them a spike plant. And as we were kind of talking about, you know, best player in the tournament versus just being the best chamber in the tournament, I mean, Dicey comes in, statistically speaking, from stage 2 being the best when it came to KD ratio and kills per round. He was also #2 in first blood success rate and #1 in total multi-kills. As well as being in the top 3 for ADR, ACS, and multi-kills per round. So, I mean, the dude was just a statistic anomaly throughout Stage 2, to be honest with you. And it's been awesome, right? Because, you know, after the whole 100th situation, he was kind of not really doing much competitively, maybe standing in here and there. He's found a whole new chapter to his career on this FaZe team and has once again risen as a star in the region.
And I think with that as well, FaZe has also been able to kind of flex their variety in builds because you're not just looking at Baby Bay anymore to do the heavy lifting and the kills. Now you got some trust built that Dice is going to get the job done as one of the best chamber players to get openers. Speaking of openers, APOP tries to get a little bit greedy. Flash came through, but it was only good for the opening kill. Superman able to trade things back, and Com will say, all right, let's give up the site for now, play a little bit of retake.
Indeed, FaZe are certainly entrenching themselves here. The flank already coming through by Boostio through long B, so that'll add another angle. Trademark's been destroyed as well already on the flank, so now FaZe have to worry about that pretty quickly as Jawjamo's already found a frag, and so FaZe are starting to crumble, but a good swing back there from Super and Dicey keeps them in the mix.
Yeah, and Boostio just a judge at this point, so You kind of hope and pray maybe you can catch somebody off, maybe find a weapon, turn this into a doable 1v2. There is still a chance maybe find the first with the headhunter, which seems to be the call here. Boostio on the corner, we'll see Superman first. Does see the barrel, but I think that information is mutual. Sure is. Snakebite was just there to kind of cover over the top of the spike to make sure there's no sneak defuse coming through early. First shot does connect though. Now a chance to go. It's the judge, but it's Superman who gets there first. 4 kills in the round for Supa, and FaZe on the board in our 3rd round.
Yeah, so kind of the typical economic pattern breaking through here to kick off this game. And again, these two teams, of course, did play IceBox in the main stage for stage 2, and it was a double overtime victory for FaZe. And really the interesting about thing that match is that both teams usually very good on the attacking side, usually good for 6 or more rounds, but that game both teams struggled on the attack. And I'll also say this, outside of the win over Evil Geniuses in the 2nd stage, FaZe typically have struggled on this map. Usually defensively is actually the funny thing about that.
Let's play.
Gonna be very early. Tour coming through in round number 4. Reform trying to hold the defensive line, but you can see that barrier is falling very rapidly. Trying to support this is Cobb with the Hunter's Fury behind the wall, but only gets a little bit of damage. Supa is able to collect first blood onto Boostio, giving us a very early 5v4. Tons of time for FaZe to maneuver if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe just kind of staying to their trademark Smeeg style, you know, looking for those early skirmishes and coming out with one off the bat. I will say, though, to their credit, throughout the stage, I feel like they got more and more sophisticated on their poises leadership.
Agreed.
I feel like, yeah, they still had that very just high pace, up tempo, you know, very aggressive play style, one of the most aggressive teams in the region, but I think Poise was able to kind of rein it in a little bit, and as well as just add some more complex utility to kind of make it easier for Baby Bay to be that tip of the spear, where he had a little more support, where he could kind of scramble defenses, and it would kind of make his dueling a little bit easier. And so that's kind of what you're seeing here, where, you know, they don't just immediately bite the bullet off to the first entry. They kind of form up, or making sure they get that utility out, start clearing some corners, and, you know, just make their job easier as they go into sight.
30 seconds
And you
left.
see that off of the cast percentages for FaZe. Nobody under 70%, which is incredibly well done. That team push now starting to come through, even through the Viper wall. Superman's able to take down one more into Reform, so the defense now split up a touch. But for a second, you thought maybe they were able to kind of group FaZe together, maybe for a collat situation. Not going to happen. Jawjamo's peak will be punished. Leaves Apoth with a 1v5. And it's one of those moments you say, good luck, have fun, and likely just hang out, wait for the round to come to an end.
Yeah, not really a whole lot he can do here, that's for sure. Maybe try to get some exits, farm up some orbs to get that early Viper's pit out. Obviously, want to try to hold on to the Vandal, give you at least something to work with in the next round. But, I mean, it's going to be a flawless round for FaZe, more than likely, as they all just kind of sit back over here towards Long B, not looking to chase. And that will even us up at 2 apiece. As Evil Geniuses comes in as kind of the front runner on this map. Again, we talked about how they had a rough stage 1. You know, didn't make playoffs, kind of were in dead last place in the groups, made some big roster changes to the team kind of towards the end of April. But from that point forward, they are near 80% win rate on this map with 9 games played. So definitely have made a home on this map, and a lot of it was coming down to some of their innovation. You know, obviously Ender kind of broke down some of that, you know, on the desk, talking about, you know, some of their different wall placements. Also the way that they used like the stage boost to get a diffuser up in the sky so they could like take them down. That was like kind of like a funny nerd moment that we saw that kind of spread around social media. But it's also just their overall team play is just really good. They have a couple of true star players in Boostio and Jawjamo, but the strength of this team really is just how balanced they are as a team. They don't rely on one particular style, and they're very good at playing off of each other.
It was really funny because when we were getting into playoffs, a lot of people had a lot of conversation about Ghost Gaming and how their team play looked superior compared to a lot of NA teams, and then they faced EG, and it was like, wait a second, EG might just be better than Ghost at their own game. So you definitely get that sentiment kind of pushed onto you.
Yeah.
As we get into round number 5, Apoth, the only one with a rifle here, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this on the attacking side for EG, but I feel like they were a very execute-heavy team early on. And I feel like over the course of the stage and throughout playoffs, they also added the ability to throw feints and fakes and kind of fleshed out their defaults as well, which just made them more well-rounded and even better just as a unit. So that's something I'm sure, again, we'll talk more about once they get to the attack on this round. They don't really have too much to work with, just that Vandal on Apoth and some upgraded pistols. FaZe, making sure they're not running into any type of trap, or kind of just taking their time, clearing their way forward along B with the drone. And, you know, clearing their close corners with the knife, and now they'll begin their ascent onto the B site.
Would be nice if Reform could just peel one off. Help has occurred here, though. EG already on the rotation with a couple of defenders up top. Boys is just going to stick this, at least just considering it.
Uh-oh.
What happened right there? A little friendly fire out of the shock dart takes down Reform, who I imagine had to be impacted by some sort of decay in the first place. Flya follows up with the first real kill, and a long flank on the backside is really not going to end up on to be too much. You would have to feel like the clearance from the front is good. Dodgeball was able to get one to kind of keep FaZe in place, but okay, hold on a second. Apoth with the rifle has now all of a sudden essentially entrapped FaZe behind the site. They're gonna have to fight this one back, and maybe a chance for Apoth to take one more with him. But low HP, difficult 1v3 situation, a lot of angles you have to clear, and not a lot of utility to do it. That'll be, what, 3 in a row for FaZe just like that after the bounce back after the pistol.
Yeah, the reason why I was kind of getting excited about that flank is he actually used the poison orb to block the trademark, and so I thought that his flank was going to go undetected if Evil Geniuses could have had some of their other members to stay alive a bit longer on site, but as we saw, FaZe kind of just tore through that with their entries. Obviously, a team kill from Evil Geniuses didn't help, and so there was really no way for Apoth to catch the proper timing to actually have this flank be impactful. And so as you called it, FaZe winning 3 in a row, grabbing the early lead here in the first half as they get their economy flowing nicely. Now a couple of ults going to be in play for both squads. See how they want to use them.
I think the real question, too, as we get deeper into this first half especially, we have to start evaluating, you know, the big agent move. You know, you got Jojmo on KO for the first time, and you've got Baby Bay over on the opposite side on Raze for the first time, neither of which are really finding tremendous amounts of value, at least early on through the first 5 rounds. This time, though, the Viper's Pit will be followed up with a judge in hand for Apoth, who's looking to stay pretty aggressive, just trying to see if he can catch someone lurking into the green smoke, but he will not be given that opportunity, at least not as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we know that the agent race can get a lot of value in IceBox, has in the past, especially on this A side. There's so many close corners that your explosives and Boombot can get information or clear space and allow you to have an easier time entering the site along with the initiator utility. So definitely could see that come through. He's just one away from Showstopper as well here, as they're looking to try to maybe put a little bit of pressure on this Viper's Pit with a recon bolt coming in soon here from Flya. And, you know, all their force is still pretty much gathered up on the A side. They're also poking at middle right now with Superman, who, let's talk about this guy. He had such a revitalized back half of the second stage. When he first came to FaZe, I feel like he struggled a lot, but he became another star for them.
They've made their way through mid. They beat the timing on the peaker. Trying to look underneath tube, so now all of a sudden FaZe is hitting this multiple points of ingress. Oh, and it's completely shut down. Jojmo is trying to hold down with an ult command, but he gets put down into place. Reform stuck now between 2 different FaZe members as the plant is coming through for Flya. And yeah, just nowhere for Reform to go. Completely caught off guard, and all of a sudden Boostio says, how did that just happen?
Yeah, it was just a beautiful timing on the A split, getting through middle, with Superman kind of being the leader of that mid portion of the attack. Is again, I feel like he's just become more and more comfortable as time has passed with his time on FaZe. He's kind of getting back to that level we saw him at when he was on Rise, when we saw him as a prospect, when we saw him as one of the best controllers in the region. You know, again, it took him a little bit of time to find his footing on FaZe when he first joined the squad, but now he's back to being a guy they can consistently rely on. You know, not only for just the utility that a controller brings to the table, but also just being a consistent fragger and being willing to kind of mesh with that aggressive play style. You know, him looking to entry up middle to help that A split along is something you didn't always see in the past.
What an offensive half this has been so far for FaZe. 4 in a row. Huge weapon advantage coming into round number 7. 1 rifle in hand, that's for Boostio defensively, and he's playing over towards the opposite site at the moment. Null Command comes out offensively for FaZe. Owl Drone, Paint Shells looking to clear things out on the backside of the Toxic Screen. All of it is just dissecting the site perfectly, pushing EG back. But the good news for Evil Geniuses is they haven't lost anybody yet, and they still have a lot of utility left if they want to try to hit this retake.
Deploying drone.
Indeed, Owl Drone coming out here from Calm is going to spot out Baby Bay right away in the corner and push him back with the combinations from shock darts. We are seeing Poise, though, being undetected up top on site right now. Could blow this thing up, does get in behind, but he's just not letting the shots. Finally connects on the Boostio, and now it's all going to be on Calm up top on the rafters.
Yeah, and he has been seen by Poised in the first place. Just comes down to the timing of the drop down, and yep.
Oh, boy.
No one look at his right foot. Just don't look at it.
It's not, doesn't exist. Different kind of vibe of getting your toes wet.
Yeah, wet. It's like putting on wet socks.
Yeah.
Just out there. Feels drafty.
Man, what a dominant attacking half, though, from FaZe after losing Pistol. They have been relentless. These attacks, no matter where they've gone, have been successful. And I mean, again, a lot of it comes down to their confidence and their aggressive play style and the fact that they, you know, have touted the best first kill percentage of the stage coming into LCQ and are kind of keeping that up. I mean, they are continuously kind of getting themselves in 5-on-4 situations, and they are definitely one of the best teams at converting on those. I think the big thing for them has been in the past is if they get slowed down by a defensive team that kind of gets in their face before they can really launch their attacks, that's where they struggle because they are one of the worst teams in 4-on-5 conversion rates. And again, I feel like when I watch them in playoffs, when teams were having success against them, it was when they were kind of shutting them down before they could even get started. You've seen FaZe be pretty comfortable on setting up their attacks. Like, there hasn't really been a whole lot of disruption in the early round from Evil Geniuses, to kind of slow FaZe down.
Sure. And hey, look at this way. I mean, we talked a lot about this FaZe Clan roster during the group stage and even more so during playoffs, is their initial executes, as you mentioned, were pretty tried and true. And obviously that also led to them on retakes being one of the most successful NA teams. But here is a different look, just kind of comparing the trends to the FaZe Clan we knew back during stage 1 where they missed out, and now here where they are playing for LCQ, as what Babybay said in that opening intro, a favorite. Babybay's not the first one into these sites. He's using all of his utility strategically to allow the full team to get there together, and that's already a very different thing. Even though it's subtle, it is very momentous, I think, to the capabilities FaZe have. I
would like to see EG get a little bit more aggressive defensively. They, statistically speaking, have usually been one of the worst retakes teams in the region. And again, the way that you beat FaZe is just to slow their attack down before it can get started. Like, that has been one of their weak points, is kind of handling disruption. And we just haven't seen EG really pressure them.
And the thing about it is, not to, throw any shade, is we don't often assume that Boostio is going to play the same kind of dicey chamber, right? Like, he's usually playing more of a lockdown style, not the intro, peak push, rendezvous back style. So that's something to kind of keep in mind to see if those trends will change. Off the pause, FaZe not showing any force towards A this time. Same wall that we've seen. Aldrone's likely going to be here to try to peek around the corner based on what Fly is looking to do. And Poise will watch flank as FaZe look to stack up for at least some sort of early intel towards B.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure being put right now over towards Yellow on the B side, and now we see that quick rotation from Evil Geniuses response to Babybay. Gonna satchel over the wall, trying to get the side, gets up top, and lands a beautiful entry on the Jajamo, and he's not done yet. He's playing around this Viper smoke, looking for perhaps more as the spike goes down, but nonetheless, FaZe have an anchor.
Rez comes through, but Dicey over the top of the pit will do well to keep this a 5v4 after the resurrection. Still holding the corner. Not going to catch a shoulder initially, but performed to eventually make himself available. One more on the corner, and he's seen Calm. No way Calm can get back into this. So now you look over to Jajamo's direction. Can he get into this pit and possibly create a bit of a distraction, maybe to give Calm an angle? Hard to say initially. Dicey missing one shot, but gets into safety by way of the green smoke. But here comes Apoth and Calm. They've got enough space to get forward. They've been trying to delay it by trying to get this spike as much decay as possible with the snake fight, and he's done well to keep the clock in their favor. Calm, nothing you can do but back away.
Yeah, again, FaZe is just always been known for these explosive attacks, but I think the thing that's really crippling Evil Geniuses is, again, FaZe are so comfortable building their foundation before they launch. They are getting so much space for free. Yeah, they're having to spend utility to get it, but again, like, FaZe is just getting to play out their game plan with no distraction. And this was just marvelous from Babybay. Again, we don't really see him play raids. He's always been a Jet and then a Neon convert. So to see him pulling off a satchel like that and getting up into the top of the site with that showstopper and finding the first frag, I imagine that caught Evil Geniuses off guard.
Absolutely. I mean, he beats the timing of the barrier orb, and he's got the Viper's Pit behind him for safety, even if he doesn't convert on it. It really is a multifaceted approach that's more calculative than what we may have assumed based on what we kind of came to expect from FaZe. So continuing on this win streak, 6 in a row, goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to what we were talking about, though, doesn't it? I mean, this team, FaZe, has become more and more sophisticated over time, whether it's been additional coaching and analysts being added to their staff, Poise obviously taking over the mantle of the IGL. We've seen them refine their aggressive play style into something that is more calculated. That is more utility fueled.
Morning tea.
Yes.
Yeah, morning tea Smeeg.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll buy a boat today. That it's that kind of Smeeg.
Yeah, quite right. Yes,
quite.
More delay here from FaZe. Once again, just keeping that same toxic screen out. Boostio has changed positions from mid now to try to support Reformed, who, to be fair, has been kind of caught in an island. Speaking of, Apoth up top. Also denied. Early first blood once more for FaZe. Poised with some antics on the ropes, followed up by Dicey to confirm the kill on a Calm. And now Jajmo, he has to do something miraculous, and it's just not going to happen. And, God, it's just domino effect right here as FaZe has continued to trample over EG on the openings.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe are just fully feeling confident right now in every single maneuver that they make. Everything seems to go their way. They have yet to really even be down in man count since they started this win streak. We are seeing Reform and Busio trying to make this thing interesting, but eventually Fly and Dicey will put the finishing touches on that one. That's going to put FaZe 7 rounds in a row and well out in front on EG's pick of IceBox, and EG back into the doldrums when it comes to economy. Just going to be able to get some upgraded pistols. They have no alts in play. And yeah, this is just starting to spiral. And I mean,
absolutely it is.
And it's tough because I mean, we did see Evil Geniuses kind of cool off in playoffs in comparison to their group stage performance in stage 2. And again, we know that they've been struggling with retakes and they've been forced into a lot of those situations and they have not been able to battle back against it.
And here's the thing, you want to go back to when these two teams had played this map in stage 2, week 5. Jawjamo had 25 kills on the Jet. He's got single digits still through 10 rounds, which is not common. Right? Not at all. So now FaZe looking to just kind of hold W, a little bit more characteristic to what the Death was setting up initially. Good information, good clearance on the backside for Baby Babe. Also up top, can keep the players to the top of the toxic wall just a bit at arm's reach while the spike gets planted. First blood good though for Busio from a range. He'll rendezvous back to safety. Dicey still trying to hold on to the angle though. Makes things difficult for EG, who need to really get this flank off from Apoth, but that's going to be read by a trademark.
Or will it? Or put on top of it, and so he might catch a timing. He has indeed slipped through the cracks, and EG are starting to find the numbers right now.
Here we go. Oh, on the backside. Oh, he needs to finish the last shot and is able to, but the Hunter's here got 2 of the 3 darts off. It gives maybe enough spice for Dicey to work with, but not quite enough. And yeah, how about it? The Poison Cloud doesn't really get read whatsoever. You would have thought that the sound cue would have been pulled, but Flya caught in the middle of Hunter's Fury. EG sneaking away a Thrifty.
It was just a double whammy of a timing, right? You're expecting that Viper to spin Poison Orb on A side as part of the defensive setup, but he keeps it and brings it with him, and he's used that multiple times to block a trademark for a flank. The problem in the past has always been that his teammates would kind of crumble before he could really get into position with the flank. That time, he gets it perfect. Not only is his teammates getting some nice frags with pistols, you know, from the backside of B, he also catches a guy in the middle of an ult. So it was this all came together for EG that time.
That's a pretty expensive round for FaZe, all things told. They're going to be fine economically, but it's an easy swing back to EG to possibly get to 5 here. Lots of ults on the line, including Apoth, who puts down the earliest Viper spin very passively onto A, mind you. EG still 3-man defense over towards B. This time more aggressive. There's the flash peek for Reform. Good first blood. Slow orb over the top. Also has support out of Bustio's op. And that will be enough to secure the first blood freely. EG in the first 5v4 they've seen all game pretty much.
Yeah, other than last round, you know, whenever they got Bustio the first pick with a headhunter. And again, FaZe do struggle in 4 and 5 situations. That's always been kind of their issue, which is why I was kind of calling for EG to do something a little bit more disruptive in their early round. And so far, these last couple of rounds they have, and it's netted a huge benefit. We'll see if they can follow all the way through here. FaZe still trying to break through on B. Spike still very much in their possession. Dicey sliding forward the op. No one really knows he's gotten this close yet, but just as he's about to take the shot, he unscopes and Reform makes him pay for it. A swift response from Superman, but they're still behind and Poise is low on HP.
I like this route though from Supa, getting up towards Kitchen. EG aware of the possible threat, but they still don't have Apoth as a part of this defense. He's still holding on to the Viper's pit just in case. And this 1v1 could be everything. Supa opens up space. Now all of a sudden, the defense of EG is a bit caught. A little bit separated at the moment. And yeah, there we go. Another isolated pick comes through just as the spike gets planted. Null command was also spent, and Busio just has to wait for help. Apoth isn't here yet.
No, he's not. He was trying to keep the pit up at A and anchor. Now he's trying to flank through middle through under 2. That's a great shot from Bustio, though. That could give them the maneuverability they need to get back into this.
It's all 1v1s pretty much from here on out. Viper v Viper. As Bustio at Poise, 7 HP. Bustio takes the second into the corner. It's just down to Superman. His third in the round. Caught with a knife out, though. Bustio can't get on the cross. And Supa will once again find 4 in a key round for FaZe. Through 11, it's an 8-3 lead.
Oh my goodness, man. And that's the first time Kitchen's really been implemented on the attacking side from FaZe. They haven't really needed it in the past. They could just kind of gather up, but in this mid-round situation, because they're behind, they're having to be a little bit more crafty. They're having to do things a little bit more on the fly. And Superman just happens to catch the timing. Jawjamo was aware it was possible, but he winds up losing the fight. That gives Superman the space to get them another way to launch on to B, and they wind up reeling that one back in with just 1 round left to go in the half, and you can see it's not the most ideal for EG with weapons.
Not at all. It will be a tour for Boostio, but Apoth will be stuck on the Spectre. Early Hunter's Fury. That's defensive from Calm over towards the backside of Green. Not really going to connect for too much. A little bit of damage onto Fly, but he will largely be okay. And FaZe will once again just kind of kill noise for a moment. Boostio reinforcing this A defense, though, and FaZe is starting to maneuver towards his direction. He would need to hit an opening shot here. Badly needed to this.
I did like EG's pressure at Long B early, though, with that wall and slow orb. It does kind of force FaZe back and kind of slows down their operation. Like you said, though, Boostio, a lot of weight on his shoulders anchoring this A side right now. He does have some players pushing middle, though, which is going to give a little bit of intel and get them a way to kind of come back to screens in the system if he needs to help. Flyer has been tagged, so they know what's up, but he misses the shot, at least able to get away.
Wasn't sure if he wanted to go to the low player or the player up top. That decision, that second guess may have cost him. Shock dart not going to quite hit onto Supa. The second one is really well placed. The snake bite actually gets the job done. Boostio now on the retake attempt with Reform. They're going to go 1 for 1. Res has been earned and it will be immediately spent. Calm now back into the picture. Fly and Dicey, the last one's left, and now it's down to none. EG clean after Boostio gets reset. And it'll be an 8-4 half. We'll swap the side to see if Evil Geniuses can put together an offensive wonder to see if they can take their map pick. We're back after this. Heavy rock music fades away. We get into a really dominant offensive half from FaZe. Now has to be matched by EG, but hey, Dust, I think the biggest news here for EG fans is their offensive side have largely carried them through a lot of IceBox play in the at least during the group stage. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, but definitely in the group stage. It's good math from you. Oh, well, Dust was saying some brilliant words.
I was definitely sharing some brilliant words. But what I was trying to say is yeah, Evil Genius is usually very strong on the attacking side, usually good for 6 or more, often 8 or more, but they need more than that now.
There it is.
Luckily, their pistol rounds are quite good, so that'll help them maybe close the gap early.
Got him up top. Got a good look at the defenders trying to maneuver around the site, but has to be forced off. Offensive barrier or place. But honestly, Evil Geniuses have not committed into this whatsoever. So at the moment, everything kind of hits a bit of a stalemate. And with 55 seconds in the clock, EG have used almost all of their utility to get in.
Yeah, they're not even committed at this point. They're trying to fade back. The problem is Dicey has that covered right now. Headhunter pointed right at their escape route. Khan's the lowest health. He's the one jumping first, and he's got the spike. So a lot of information going the way of Dicey right now, as well as getting the opening frag to give him man advantage. He didn't lose anything in the process either. Still fully healthy right now. And they're kind of pigeonholed into committing to A. There's 3 people here still defending it by maze.
Well, crossfire setup, but as Baby Bay falls, so does Flya, and all of a sudden, Evil Geniuses have a route in. Boy's gonna have to try to hold this, gets one, but the second contestant on the ropes will deal with the trade. So numbers will hold okay for EG, but the clock is now becoming the biggest adversary for Evil Geniuses. Reform sticking for a plant. Dicey cutting off any post-plant, retreat back towards safety. And this pinch is going to have to be everything for FaZe, trying to take this pistol 2v2, one from either side. Superman in the first 1v1 loses it to Reform somehow, some way, leaving Dicey by himself, and he's not able to convert. He wasn't sure who to shoot at. Unbelievable. EG steal away the second pistol.
Oh, that was scary though, man. When you see Dicey get the first frag and basically hold off the fallback middle, you see that FaZe has a reinforced A defense of 3 players. You're starting to question, especially as you noted, the clock was starting to get into a dangerous territory, but they're able to win some nice early fights in maze to kind of break through. They get the spike down just in time, and they ultimately win out the 2 versus 2, again, keeping that pistol round win rate at a very high level. But again, now they go up against one of the best eco teams in the region.
Oh, this has to be clean for EG. If you're going to go into 3 Vandals, this has to be good. You start to give away some of these rifles, and this round 3 could be very interesting. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch, though. EG is going to get revealed. All 4 players stacking over towards green will be hit by that 0 point. I'm able to take the orb, and that seems to be most of the intention, but look at the defense for FaZe here, Dust.
Yeah, they bite on that right away. They quickly rotate off the back that information from the knife. But EG does, of course, let that option to fall back. They still have middle presence right now with Apoth. So they're not committed to this. They do almost get detection, but they escape there from Dicey with the rendezvous. Wall goes down. Snakebite is covering the plant zone. There's a little bit of a patch that Reform's able to run into, but he is getting beaten up.
Yeah, it sure is. That's all the armor gone. Has to use the heal as well on himself. And Apop is not a part of this post plan at the moment. Still watching the flank, but with these rifles bolstering from the front, Bustio's able to find first blood. Recon bolt goes out. It reveals a lot. FaZe start to make their move forward on the retake. Still holding these angles though are EG with just far superior firepower. Poise that distance gets one, but it's just all hopes were squandered when 3 Vandals entered the round, it felt like.
Oh yeah. And you're fighting a real uphill battle at that point. EG kind of respecting the strength of FaZe, going straight to the better weapons. And that also means that when you're trying to make your comeback, you're not going to be penalized as much because you don't really have a bonus round. Like, you're going in the first full buy from your opponent with your own full buy, which is great when you're behind and you don't want to give up any space. Let's see what FaZe wants to do here, though. Again, the best retake team in the region by a pretty large margin. It gives them a lot of flexibility on how they want to stack or over-rotate or play aggressively, knowing that they have that retake game in their back pocket. And how EG are going to battle against that will be interesting.
And there were some questions, for what it's worth, kind of getting into playoffs. FaZe maybe over-reliant on just playing for retake. We kind of maybe scrutinized them for being a little bit too forgiving on the openings, just giving away too much real estate. Not the case this time. Dicey.
Oh,
does he get seen there? Had to have. Yep. And he will rendezvous back just to keep it safe. Super going to create a little bit of space and time by throwing out one of the snake bites, and FaZe's defense will start to maneuver.
Indeed they will. EG have taken control here of that first level of Long B. Have not threatened yellow just yet, though there are still 2 players here. They will be detected by that. Meanwhile, Bustio gets a huge 1 versus 1 in middle. That's going to force a defense to back off a little bit on B, start worrying about that A split. All down the Superman, and he's been caught as well.
No.
EG winning on all fronts. This couldn't have gone worse for FaZe.
I like the idea from Supa. You get that 1v1, all of a sudden you contain Evil Genius's attack, but you lose that 1v1 and the exact opposite happens to you. Now you're stretched paper thin. And Evil Geniuses are really going to put the pressure on. Little maneuver over towards Kitchen. Will be held by a trademark for now. Dicey's still up. And the rest of the hit is going to be on the backside of when Com hits the go call with this shot. Boy's looking for an angle. He sees the bow and will take down one, but he's stuck in his back position. Or maybe, maybe it's EG who's stuck with him. Maybe they now rotating back over, but gets caught on the Boombot channel. And that'll be enough for Evil Geniuses to take the 3rd round and a half.
That's certainly a nice little attempt there over in yellow from Poised. Almost found a way to fight back into that one, but eventually EG calmed things down, get the job done, and now they're on the brink of tying this game right back up, as there's not much economy left for FaZe. Again, Bustio, big entry at middle, and then this frag from Com.
Huge.
This gives you a huge 5 versus 3 at that point. They also had so much real estate on the map as well. They had so many outs if anything went wrong. It's going to be hard to come back from that one. And so this is looking like maybe a tie ball game right here, despite FaZe's huge run on the attack.
EG sitting up for a pretty massive run of their own. I mean, the desk hit it on the head. I know a lot of people were excited to see what the guard was going to do coming off of a lot of Stage 1 heroics. Obviously, a lot of expectations for Sentinels, but both these 2 teams definitely have some weight in the ring when it comes to fighting for a possible spot at Champs.
I mean, what, FaZe was 3rd and EG was top 5 last stage?
Yep.
I mean, that is probably one of the closest matchups we had in this initial part of the bracket, so
yeah,
we always knew that it had a potential to be a very tight race between these 2 foes, as you are going to see EG once again hammering away on this B side of the map. Now they've made a decision on where they want to commit. They also have someone watching flank from spawn, which is certainly being threatened right now by a couple of members of FaZe.
Oh, that's a massive first blood for Reform. Self-boosting onto the top high ground and will follow up with the second. Apop gets a look at Fly on the flank through mid. No problems there. And Com, who earlier got the orb, will get the plant off to earn the Hunter's Fury, but that will likely not be needed here. Superman 1v4, just the Sheriff to play with. 85 HP to his name. And he's got Jawdemo on a shoulder peak that is just not going to be challengeable. 8-8 through 16. What an offensive half we've seen so far, really from both of our 2 teams.
Yeah, again, the last time these 2 teams matched up on IceBox, they didn't really play the strengths that we're used to. Both teams usually pretty strong at the attacking side of this map, and in particular, EG just a strong IceBox team all around. When they met up in Stage 2, neither team could really get the attack figured out. It was kind of odd. Now we're kind of getting back to what the expectation was for both these squads on IceBox and where their strengths really do lie. And again, that's around right there where Evil Geniuses crack out something else that's crafty. But we've seen it time and time again, this team come out with just like these really nifty ways to use utility that are a bit unorthodox. And the way that Reform uses his wall to get entry right there is just something you don't see every day. And again, that's what it makes EG so strong, is even if they don't have the most flashy players in the region, although I would argue Jawjamo at this point has established himself as one of the stars of NA.
Sure.
What they do have to make up for it is just solid team play, you know, being able to have these like really well coordinated attacks and just throwing in like these little curveballs, like these little slight tweaks in how they use their utility to kind of catch you off guard, catch a timing, and they battled their way back to even.
Yep, I think the biggest thing is after a very disappointing first stage, you make a couple of roster swaps, you really talk through what you maybe want the culture of the team to be, and they are probably coming into stage 2. They were probably one of the more creative teams right off the get-go, and that's still showcasing itself here at LCQs.
Absolutely. The brain trust of Boostio and Potter and the rest of the staff has certainly cooked up some nice stuff. I mean, living up to the Evil Geniuses moniker pretty well.
That's fair. Oh, this is sneaky. Maybe it's going to not be revealed by this opening recon. Tries to boost right into the face of Reform, but that'll be an easy kill. Lots of ultimates available, including the Resurrection, so the first blood will essentially be denied, and then the turns have tabled, so to speak, as Evil Geniuses now hold a 5v4.
I see what you're doing there. I do see some
like that?
Yeah, I did. FaZe not liking how things are going right now in this round so far. As that wall goes down, Spike is going to go down. EG also planting.
Spike planted.
A little bit of action there, so it is getting really tough. FaZe at least have middle, but even that may get caught right now by Apoth.
Yeah, good shoulder, but it doesn't matter. Supa has now established a threat on the flank. He's not going to hit this, though. It's all going to be from the front. Full command. Coming through, the suppression still in play. Boostio caught off, couldn't go anywhere, but Jawjamo, he can't see anything! He gets the double still from the high ground, now shaking off the decay, still has a good angle on the last two. Hunter's Fury called out, but not needed, as Reformed will finish off the round and Evil Geniuses stay flawless in the opening attack rounds.
And they got enough layers on these attacks to stop FaZe's normal retake proficiency from really coming into play. You know, despite the fact that Apoth got caught, and so Superman added like another angle of threat, EG just hold on, man. Jawjamo doubling up, and again, we talked about how Dicey, probably the #1 player in this tournament. I mean, last stage, Jawjamo was #1 in ACS and ADR, top 5 in KD, and #2 in kills per round. So, I mean, he was right up there.
Yep.
As far as impact goes from an individual standpoint, he's living up to it in the game here where it counts.
Oh my goodness, this is so bold from FaZe. Dicey pushes straight into danger to get the orb for a tour, and the only thing watching over him is a Marshall that connects for first blood? The cojones on FaZe to pull that off.
Yeah, that was certainly risky, but it's going to pay off. They get the opening. They do indeed get the tour available for Dicey. It's out and ready to go to defend this long B, which is indeed the intended target of Evil Geniuses. Cobb will be the first victim. He's out of there, and that Spike is immediately saying, I'm out. See you later. Don't like it.
That has to be one of the boldest calls we've seen in a minute.
It's such a FaZe thing to do, though, isn't it? Like,
it absolutely is.
I mean, let's be honest. If any team's going to do something like that, it would be FaZe, and it might just pan out. They might be able to put this one back to equal.
Unbelievable.
Again, one of the best eco teams.
Showstopper.
Just saying.
Yep. Yep.
About to get that trophy, it looks like.
Snake fight over the top only marginally affects Apoth. Lots of utility already being spent for FaZe, trying to deny this plant, and oh my goodness, the paint shells tear through a lot of Apoth, and he hits a mid-angle. And then now a Dicey, yep, okay. Ultimate's the key here for FaZe. One more down low, no scope, not gonna work out, but Fly from the flank will finish it off, and FaZe, I don't know if this will technically count as a thrifty or not, but it might as well. All they had was a Marshall and a Spectre coming into it, and yeah, the game will give them the thrifty.
Yeah, that early pick plus the tour de force pickup for Dicey, massive, and he winds up multi-fragging with it, as he so often does. Dicey, in fact, came into this with the #1 amount of multi-kill rounds of the year, basically, for North America, and second in multi-kills per round, and you see how it happens. The man's just skilled. But it's a huge play from Superman to get him the tour de force. I mean, that is just bonkers, and look at this, all even, 9-9. Everyone's going to put their best foot forward economically in this one. Only one off available, though. It's Superman.
Oh, Opening recon bolt, not able to see too much, but it does create space for FaZe to possibly move forward. They're able to grab the orb. That's good for Hunter's Fury. And Fly immediately backs off and resets in towards the middle of the map. But EG, very patient, looking to reset and re-grab essentially the same ground that was just challenged by FaZe. Takes a little bit of utility, but still works out. Spicy, operator in hand. Close. This is out on Jojimo, and we'll rendezvous back.
Yeah, he knew that he was in a dangerous position, couldn't linger around any longer, had to spin the rendezvous right away. Spike threatens to plant already. Hunter's Fury comes through to try to prevent that. Indeed it has. They still don't know they have so much time left. What? Okay.
Okay. I mean, they're still trying to reflip this thing back through mid. Apoth was in mid-map, and he gets shut down, so now all of a sudden, these fights are not comfortable for Evil Geniuses. They're all piecemeal. And Dicey just holds down the angle. Fly watching his cross through maze, and the idea of trying to bait out the Hunter's Fury and then reflip back fails because Apoth just drops mid-map. Gustio's still on the way in. Gonna have to commit to it.
Left.
28 on the clock. This will be a 1v4. Dicey the next one up, and well, too much shoulder shown there. And FaZe will re-grab the lead up 10-9.
And FaZe starting to find their footing here defensively. Like their momentum had really and truly been worn out when Evil Geniuses got off to a hot start here in the second half. But the win now back in FaZe's sails. Yeah. Now the economy getting vulnerable here for Evil Geniuses. They get a full buy here. Sure, they do have a couple of ults, yes, but if this doesn't work, they're in dangerous waters all of a sudden where FaZe are nearing map point and they're running out of credits to spend. So this next round that they're calling a timeout for is pivotal to keep themselves close in this contest. Yeah, they're going to have Pit. They're going to have Null Command. They have full weapons and utility, but again, if this fails, they have a tough choice to make. You know, you don't want to get FaZe map point for free, so would you force? Or do you have to play for OT at that point? Like, that's a tough call they're going to make if this round doesn't go their way. And I think that's why they're taking the extra time to talk about. They know how important this round's going to be. They don't want to have to make that choice.
And you have to hope that if Evil Geniuses do find themselves kind of on their heels in this moment, that you don't see a lack of creativity. That has been their wagon to victory, so to speak. They have been great when it comes to just constantly keeping the defense of whoever they're playing completely confused. And man, that time it really just comes down to a 1v1 off screen.
Yep.
You can't let that get in your head. I think you still have to keep playing for this same game plan that you see from Evil Geniuses. Stay flexible, stay creative.
That's the one thing EG have going for them. They have many pages to their playbook, whether it's full-on strats or just like little tweaks to existing tactics to give it a slightly different look. And again, they developed their style over stage 2. They went from execute heavy to also being able to play the more default style when they need to and just kind of, you know, roll up the punches throughout the course of a round. So they are certainly one of the more well-balanced teams in NA as far as what approaches they can bring to the game. So definitely don't count them out. But again, this round means everything almost. Oh, look at Baby.
This is bold.
That was super bold. Almost. I don't like that. They had no support.
No, me
way to get
neither.
out.
Powerless.
Full command through. Aldrone will tag Dicey, who now has to back off. It's going to have to be a retake without numbers here for FaZe. Good damage coming through, though. Fly able to secure at least Jojimo down. He gets brought back up and then immediately put back down again. He's just EG just using him as bait. And it's just down to Dicey. Gets a tag onto Boostio through some framework of the mid-tube. Swaps out the op for a rifle. Could definitely dance with it for a while, but did not expect Calm to be in the same position. And a little extra for him as EG able to tie this thing back up at 10.
Yeah, I just don't like that play from ABBA at all.
Me neither.
Like, if you're going, Raze is not the agent for that type of play. Like, that's a chamber play or, you know, a jet play or something like that if you're going to do that solo, or you need a support factor. You need a buddy. You need someone who can get you out of that situation if it's not going to pan out. There's no easy out like, you know, a chamber would provide or something like that. So just seemed unnecessary, and especially on that crucial of a round, you know you have EG up against the ropes. To kind of give them a free look like that, I just think it's so ill-informed. But
yeah,
at the end of the day,
if you're trying to beat a timing, yeah, I was gonna say if you can beat a timing, it just felt weird that he did it completely dry. How about this? Speaking of, flash comes through, doesn't matter. I think both EG members were hit by that, but still the kill comes through. Dicey the first one to fall. Now Poise feeling a ton of pressure. Flashes on his corner. That one will land okay, and then a huge double for Poise to lock down the middle of the map. Superman now by himself, backside yellow. Baby MA able to get one. Aldrone scouts it out. Super in trouble as Reformed responds with a double of his own. Wall goes down. The Spike looking to follow up quickly, but it's how about it? Fly up from the deep angle. final lineup. 2 more headshots, and FaZe back up again, 11-10.
And I hope we go back to poise, because I want to point out something that he does here on the fly. His initial gut reaction is to throw flash first. He decides not to. Throws fragment first, traps Apoth between the flash and the fragment, guarantees him the first fragment, just happens to find the second on the way out. That was such a smart sequence of where to throw the utility. You know, because again, his gut reaction initially was to throw flash first. He swaps it. Right call. Perfect trap inside too to put FaZe back ahead.
And a needed double as well, by the way. That really, Baby Bay was still trying to get up into position to help out B. Unreal. EG, possibly looking to go quick, at least show force quickly. The spike is behind this play. Wall comes through, and here comes Evil Geniuses through maze. This is the same breakdown that Ender was talking about. They're able to section off 410 brilliantly. And with the Viper's Pit now kind of sustaining this push, the spike makes its way on. Com's able to avoid any defensive utility initially. Shock Dart will land. Pate Shells to follow, but he's able to get off the ropes and keep his life as Boostio, meanwhile, from the front, is able to take down 2 before rendezvousing back to safety.
And FaZe don't even want to try. They're out of there. They know that their own economy has now gotten to a fragile state. And so they wanted to just make sure they at least have something to roll with into the next round. These 3 weapons are everything. And so that's going to be 11-all. And again, very much history could repeat itself. Last meeting on this map, it was 15-13 for FaZe. It took extra rounds to decide things, and it very well could be doing the same thing here. It's just kind of the tone of this match has started to get to a back-and-forth state. It started out with FaZe going on a tear, EG making the comeback, and now it's basically been tit for tat here lately.
My goodness, what an opening day of LCQ. Are you kidding me? We still got a full weekend and another weekend behind this.
We got 7 more days after today. Yeah, there's a lot of hours to be played for just 1 spot left for champs.
Wow.
Taking place next month.
What a grueler.
Yep.
All right. Into this one, Evil Geniuses able to work with Tour. 1 off from Rez, and they've also got Hunter's Fury offensively to work with. On the opposite side, FaZe Clan getting closer to both the Showstopper and a Hunter's Fury of their own, but just have the null command up for poise, at least in this round for now.
Let's play.
Look at this, Baby Bay trying to get fancy right now on the zip line. Makes it all the way across to heaven, not spotted. He's got some support inside the site, but he's mostly alone with not really a way to escape. So this is going to be very interesting, and they have literally no idea. They're not even thinking about this. This could be everything one way or the other.
Lucio's checking high. Baby Bay, the Toxic Screen comes through. He gets 1 for free. It is traded out, but a 1-for-1 is okay. It's going to keep Evil Geniuses quite significantly at bay. They're not going to know what's on site, if anything. So once more, Evil Genius is going to be tested to see how they have a secondary hit for this spike site.
Hunter's Fury paving a way forward, but the wall drops at just the same time. Ward collected, yeah, Rez going to be on the table now, but the fighting continues before EG can really fall back to make use of it. And now
they're still going to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, they're eventually the Snall command will run out, and eventually they will get this res. But at least FaZe have gotten all their personnel here ready to defend. And time is starting to run low. I mean, if EG wants to fall back to B, they have to do so now. Otherwise, they just have to commit. But they're going against, the full defensive FaZe is here ready to go.
Yep, 2 flashes, 2 snake bites defensively for FaZe to use. Reform trying to clear corners. Boys, first one up, no problem there. Trades though coming through, and Evil Geniuses come out on top. A 3-for-1 exchange. And EG on their map pick. It was looking dire for moments in the first half. They still straggle together a solid offensive half to get onto map point first.
Yeah, just good high-low peek to that initial choking from Maze. Again, great initial trade-off. Baby Bay not allowing him to get more, just kind of staying ahead of the curve. Again, a lot of these high-low peaks, just trading efficiency from Evil Geniuses, never really giving FaZe a 1v1 there. There was always a follow-up, and again, that's been one of the biggest things about EG, how together they are as a unit. Even with them having a short time together, as each day passes, their chemistry just gets better and better. These timings get a little bit more fine-tuned, and that's big news.
I will also say, and then we saw it there in the slow motion replay, Flya breaking down that wall was a pixel away from maybe finding Reform before he got around the corner. How different that round could have been if he denied the res.
Icy does have Tour de Force, and they do have weapons on everyone else as well. So at least FaZe can somewhat put a good amount into this as far as firepower goes. That's the one saving grace. Maybe does have
Tons of
Showstopper
ultimates.
as well.
Yep. We'll see what happens here first. EG setting to hit. Baby Bay already holding on to paint shells, looking to respond to this, as there has been a lot of significant full buy pressure for EG early over towards A.
Such a crazy gamble when you think about it. FaZe have no info long B at all. They're playing passive B site, but they're just playing for the B retake. They're playing the A stack, and they've guessed right.
Oh my, and Dicey gets the first, no problem, sees more on top of the ropes, eventually has to rendezvous away and reformed in that time, is able to secure the trade. We go 4v4. Still ultimates to spend. Flya holding deep through mid, looking for a chance to get Hunter's Fury online. Big 1v1 again, but this time Apop onto Superman, creates an opening. Spike trying to follow up, and Jotamo lurking through the A site, gets the double. Flya, last one left for the Guardian, and a Hunter's Fury to play with. This would be a 1v4 as Reform. We'll get the Spike down, and the Hunter's Fury timing is just not there. Has to put it back in the back pocket. They know exactly where he's at after that channel, like you mentioned there, Dustin. It's just down to can Flya possibly find an opening somewhere. He's got no information. One recon bolt has been recharged. Gonna see at least where it bounced from. Player nearby, the one tap connects. 5 HP though, still revealed. We're formed on the opposite corner, considering the shoulder, and commits to it at the exact right time. Evil geniuses. We asked if they could put together a miraculous offensive half dust. Whoo, boy, did they.
Dude, that Apop